One of the first ways we can talk about using Kodak software solutions to get documents into a Microsoft SharePoint repository would be to use Kodak's Capture Pro software. So the screen you see here is a production version of Capture Pro. So what I'll do to bring the documents in is simply click on New Batch. So Capture Pro is more of a batch-oriented processing application. Next, I'll be asked for the kind of document that I'll be scanning. In this particular case, it's going to be some employment records. So I'll pick that from the drop-down list. You could have numerous ones out there, as you can see. And what that'll do is actually load up the application or the job that'll match the kind of documents that I'm about to scan. Okay. Next, we'll click on the big green scan button here. You'll notice we're going to scan these in at color, 150 dots per inch, and we're going to delete blank images at the same time. You'll hear the scanner engage here in the background. We have scanned in 10 pieces of paper, and you can see that along the bottom down here in the little status area. So we've scanned in 10 pieces of paper, but yet, more importantly, we made 3 documents out of it. Okay, so I have, out of those 10 pages that we scanned in, I have a 3-page document followed by a 3-page document followed by a 4-page document. And if you look at the anatomy of each one of these documents here, you'll notice that we did use a cover page that has some barcode data. The barcode data is really nice because it extracts information from the barcode, and we can use that information to locate and find that document inside of SharePoint. And I'll show you that in just a moment. So you can actually see the barcode data over here on the right. So this particular one we're looking at is a job application for Alice Andreen. There's her employment ID number, and there's her start date. Those are the values of the barcode. If I go to document number 2, here's her Alice Andreen's resume. It's a 2-page resume. And if I go to document number 3, this is a performance appraisal for Alice Andreen. Okay, so obviously we only scan in 10 pieces of paper, but the Capture Pro software is designed to handle much bigger batches of documents depending on the kind of scanner that you're using. Before I submit the batch to SharePoint, obviously we want to verify things such as image quality, proper data, and then we'll pass that image and that data off to SharePoint. So the next thing I'm going to do here is press the checkered flag, and by pressing that checkered flag, it will bundle up that batch of 3 documents and all of the associated metadata that will go along with it, and it is now in the process of uploading that data to a Microsoft SharePoint library. So what we'll do now is hop over to Microsoft SharePoint, and you'll notice I'm in the Human Resources library down here. So when I click on Human Resources, it'll actually refresh pieces of data that I have in it. And in this particular case, I have a list of 4 employee names. Okay, so that job that I just scanned in Capture Pro was actually for Alice Andreen. So when I click on Alice Andreen's folder, you'll notice now that she has 3 documents in her folder. Some nice things about it: we actually named the document based on the kind of document that we scanned in Capture Pro. But you also notice over here under the column title, so I have employee name, I have document type, employee ID, employee start date. You'll notice that that information was populated from the barcode data that we took off the page during scan time in Capture Pro. Now, if I wanted to, let's look at our job application. All I have to do is click one time on the Word application there. We refer to this as Kodak Document Viewer. It basically is a quick thumbnail, and you can switch between documents without having to close down the window. So if I click on Performance Appraisal, you'll notice that it's opening up a performance appraisal document. And you can actually change the way it looks a little bit here. Just notice it's a really quick visual display of the document. I click on Resume, it does the same thing. The idea here is that it's a quick heads-up display of the images so that I can decide which image it is that I want to look at or which image it is that I want to either download or do different things with. Okay, so I'm going to go back and load up the application one here. And then I'm going to show by clicking on this button right here that has a little arrow on it, it can open up this document in what we refer to as Scan and View. Okay, so this little dialog box you see here is the document viewer, and then when I click on this button here, it takes it to the Scan and View area as well. It's kind of an enhanced viewer, another name for it. So, but we refer to it as Scan and View. Okay, so as the document now is being displayed in the enhanced viewer or the Scan and View window, you have lots of things that you can do here. Once again, these are server-side installation products that are, nothing is installed on the desktop. Everything is installed in the Microsoft server. It's all based on a thin client mechanism of being able to actually use these viewing tools and these scan and view products at the user's disposal. Okay, so if I click show you a little tour of this, okay, notice I have a little film strip viewer down here along the bottom, so I can actually click on the pages as I want to go through here and look at them. And you have, of course, you have your toolbar across the top here. I can actually email the document, I can save it, I can export it as a PDF, I can scan it or output it as email or print it, and then I have all the navigational buttons across the top as well. If I wanted to change the data, remember the metadata that we picked off the document through the barcodes? Well, if I need to change that data, I can certainly come up here and by clicking this piece of paper with the pencil on it, I can certainly go through and edit the metadata as I see fit. Okay, and if you had versioning turned on in SharePoint, then it would actually version it and create a new version. So you would be able to have a paper trail of the original document as it came in from Capture Pro, and then some versioning information to be able to show the history of the document or the paper trail of the document. So some other things that are really nice is that if you scanned in the document might have been scanned in, sometime in the past, and if the quality of the image was poor, you don't want to have to call the person back and say, hey, can you rescan that image? The quality is poor. Then what you could do is actually we provide you with some controls here to be able to clean the image up. So some image processing tools that can be done after the fact. So here's one for deskewing the document. Deskew is that if the document came in a little bit crooked, the deskew would actually make it straight again. Maybe remove hole punches, border removal, remove small specks, or maybe even some larger specks. So the other thing that's really nice is if you wanted to put some annotation on the document. So an annotation would be like a sticky note maybe, or maybe a stamp. So maybe I want to put the word approved on it, or maybe sign here, a draft. Those are some stamp items. Or if I wanted to redact or blank something out. So for example, here's a good example for Social Security numbers on here. So what I can do is just take my tool and actually black that out. That will now be saved or burned into the image, so that now anytime if this document was to be made public, you would have a black strip across the Social Security number to protect that information. Once again, if versioning was turned on, the original image would be unredacted, and then version 1 might be a redacted image. And then you can control those versions based on security and permissions to whoever has access to them. One of the most critical areas is the ability to search. So for example, if I wanted to come in and search on employee ID that has the number 321 in it, you'll notice now I have a hit list. I have 2 employees that have 321 in their employment ID, or you have a number of different search criteria fields up here in the window to choose from. A really strong search that allows you to immediately search on the data that was brought in from Capture Pro. From the scanning side, these are our column data. We have immediate access to it to be able to search on that information. So once again, just a quick area on how to get scanned or how to get paper documents into scanned form, digital form, extract some data, good-looking images, convert them over to a Microsoft SharePoint library so that you can now have archiving and storage and search capabilities on those documents.